Now I'm going to come back to the triggers tab a little later on. Before we look at that, let's look at some of the others. The system tab tells us something about the hardware that we're running on. So I'm currently, if I look in here, running on a machine with 4 processors. And I've got 16 gigabytes of memory in my machine. I can see the operating system that I'm running at. There's some environmental values in here as well, and things like the Java class path, the Java home variable. You'll find those in here as well. That might be useful information. The next tab is the memory tab, and actually this tells us some information about garbage collection, so that might be interesting for you to look at. There's also some stuff in here around threads, and actually we're going to look at this tab in a bit more detail quite soon, because the example application I've got for this chapter is going to have a problem that will involve threads that we will look at and find using the JMC software. And then finally, there's a tab called Diagnostic Commands. Now this is a list of commands we can run against the JVM. So if I, for example, wanted to ask the JVM which version you are, I can click on the vm.version here and then execute at the bottom, and that will send a command to the Java virtual machine. The Java virtual machine has replied saying it's running the Java 11 JDK. As with JMC, there's a lot of things here that might be interesting or useful to you. I think VM flags is a potentially interesting one. We can either just execute it and we'll get a list of all the flags that were used when our application was started. So these, if you like, are the runtime arguments that Eclipse uses. Or we can go up here and change this Boolean value to true, and that will tell us the value of every flag. If you recall, we've been doing that using the command line before. Well, here's a way to do it within JMC. We can now scroll down and find any particular flag and look at its value. So for example, say we want to get the max tenuring ratio. I think it might take me a while to scroll all the way down to find that one. But here it is, the max tenuring threshold is set, as we expect, to 15.